Good evening, my lovers, and welcome to this particularly grim and spooky edition of Weird Westcountry. The seasons have turned and Samhain is upon us. That time when the veil between the worlds is thin and the devil and his felonious minions run amok.
In ages past, the Westcountry was a wild and enchanted place.
Always closer to the mysterious worlds of fairies and piskies and other less welcoming beings. So pull the drapes against the creeping dark. Find a warm chair and draw a little closer to the fire as we delve into the torrid world of the devil in the Westcountry. Where to begin? Now this first tale is a triumph of good over evil and a reminder to always seek help in high places.
Once, long ago, a merchant ship was returning to England after a long voyage from the east, bringing a rich cargo of silks and spices. The devil, idle as always, and short of poor souls to torment, sent down a terrible storm upon her, determined to wreck the ship on the jagged rocks and to claim the lives of her crew. Aboard the ship was a merchant who, on seeing that all would soon be lost, dropped to his knees and prayed. He promised to build a church on the first high land he saw and dedicate it to St. Michael, heaven's warrior angel and saint of high places. His prayer was granted, and true to his word, he began work on a church at Brent Tor on Dartmoor. Every day, the workers would toil to pull the great stones up the unforgiving hill. But the devil soon saw the construction of the church and was enraged. Every night he would visit the tor and throw down the great stones that had been set in place that day. In his despair, the merchant prayed once more, and sure enough that night, the devil was confronted by St. Michael. The saint heaved a great stone at the devil, which struck him in the heel and sent him fleeing, howling in pain and anger. Eventually, the church was completed and dedicated to St. Michael, where it still stands to this day.
As you probably realise, the merchant succeeded in the end because he was a godly man and didn't succumb to the devil's torments. Now as the nights draw in, and the autumn winds chill you through and through, a comforting pint by a warm fire is a welcome thought. But mind you don't get too comfortable. There's been many a man lost in his cups who's come to regret his boastful words, some more than others.
There was once a blacksmith in Keenthorne who was exceedingly proud of his own skill. So much so that he boasted loudly that if the devil were to visit his forge at the nearby crossroads, the smith could shoe his horse for him. Aye, and shoe old Nick into the bargain. On his return to the forge, sometime around midnight, a stranger on a mighty dark horse appeared and demanded that his beast be shod. The blacksmith noted with horror that the stranger himself bore not feet, but hooves. In terror, he fled to the nearby rectory and begged for help from the parson who lived there. "Ah, my son," explained the parson, "you have made a deal with the devil and must return to see it through. Mind you accept no payment, for then you would have sold your soul and the devil will take you." Although he could not risk being seen, lest he scare the devil away, the parson promised to watch from a nearby hedge. And so he did, as the cowering smith returned to work. Throughout the night, the blacksmith toiled and shod the devil's horse most efficiently. Time and again the devil offered payment for his work, but was refused. Eventually he spied the watching parson and exclaimed, "Ah! If it wasn't for that old blackbird behind the hedge, I'd have made thee take the money." And with that, he and his horse disappeared.
So the blacksmith got off lightly after his scrape with old Nick. But his was but a case of too much arrogance and ale. This next tale has no such happy ending. Let it stand as a warning to always be kind to others and never to take the devil's name in jest.
There was a young ploughboy in a village near Croydon Hill who visited the local blacksmith to get the coulter of his ploughshare mended. Whilst there, he got into an argument with the local butcher's boy, who was older than he and a bully. Knowing the young ploughboy would return home by way of the lane past Croydon Hill, the butcher's boy told tales of the devil appearing there at night with his mighty horns and waving tail. Unperturbed, the ploughboy collected his coulter and set off towards home. But the butcher's boy had a plan. Returning to his shop, he stole the hide of a freshly killed bull and made his way to the lane. Wrapping himself in the hide, complete with mighty horns and waving tail, he crouched down and he waited. As the ploughboy rode along the lane, the new devil leapt out and roared most terribly. Before he could think, the boy had struck the devil hard upon the head with his plough coulter and set off running. Before long, the young ploughboy was seen running back to town, screaming that he'd up and killed the devil. Realising what had happened, some of the men from the village set out to find the butcher's boy. On arrival, they found the bull hide with a great gash in its skull, but of the butcher's boy himself there was no sign. It is still said that on stormy nights the devil rides out across Croydon Hill, and the butcher's boy is one of the souls who follow him.
A tragic tale, a haunting tale. But then the butcher's boy had made a mockery of old Hob. Surely the rest of us, regular folk, need not worry. We need not bolt the door at night and lay shivering in our beds. Surely not.
The morning of the 9th of February 1855 dawned cold and crisp. Puzzled residents on both sides of the River Exe awoke to find footprints of a cloven-footed beast, like those of a donkey, cut clear through the snow to the ground, almost as with a great heat. A local newspaper reported that the footprints were found in all kinds of unaccountable places, on the tops of houses and narrow walls, in gardens and courtyards enclosed by high walls and railings, as well as in open fields. They were even said to end at the bottom of a drain pipe before resuming up at the guttering. Terrified locals believed that Satan had stalked the area for the souls of sinners, the footprints halting at doorways and windows, only inches away from the sleeping household within.
And there you have it, my dears. 4 fearful tales of devilish wrongdoings in the Westcountry. But don't take it too much to heart. After all, 'tis only Grandma's tales made up to scare young'uns by the fire. So wrap up warm before you head out into the cold and the dark. And think carefully before you use the name of Old Nick. For in the Westcountry, he's never far away, and he may just pay you a visit. Have you got enough whiskey? It's going to be quite a long time.
Like halfway through, you'll hear the cocktail shaking.
What has gone wrong in my life for me to be sat with a tiny ring? Right, where to begin? Where to begin? Did that really slowly. We've got all day. Where to begin? Where to begin? Where to begin? Where to begin?
Where to end?
maybe with the next line. Okay.